People of Reddit, have you ever experienced the glitch in the Matrix? Died and merged with myself from another universe. I had written this before in another post as a comment, but since it seems to have happened to other fellas here, I wanted to share it with more PPI here. So here I go. I got COVID and it caused me thyroiditis, myocarditis and pericarditis, which altogether hit my heart pretty hard. One night I feel an extremely painful pain in my chest, nothing I had ever felt before, but I knew it was heart related as I had gotten used to the myo and peri pain. I tried to go out of my flat and advise my parents, who live in another flat, but I collapsed due to the pain and shortness of breath. I knew I was dying and I was terrified. Suddenly I woke up and it seemed like a dream. Also my heart diagnosis changed drastically in the next MRI. I still believe I died that night and jumped and merged with another me from another universe where my heart was not so damaged. I saw myself, and myself saw me. I am living in a small town in Turkey. I have a racing bike with custom painting blue, yellow, white, red, black dash. So in the town I live, there are maximum of 3 racing bikes in total, and none of them is the same brand with mine. We all know each other. And mine is custom painted, please note that. That one day, last summer, I wanted to drive my racing bike and my wife insisted joining with me. When she is on the bike with me, I cannot go as fast as I can because you know I don't want to be the reason for any injury or something. So I rejected and we even had a little fight for that. Long story short, I drove my bike alone like for 45 minutes and turning back to my home. Nearly I was 5 minutes away from my home, on the opposite direction. From the headlights I understand that it is the same bike with mine. After we come closer, I saw that we have exactly the same custom paint. The driver was looking at my bike and I was looking to his bike and we really slowed down for this. And, he had a passenger on the back, a woman, who has the exact same helmet with my wife. The road is divided road with barriers in the middle. So we couldn't stop and met but really confused and slowed down together. I am kind of sure it was me, in a parallel universe, accepted my wife's request and so a little late from me. Sorry for my bad English. I found my lost debit card in the wall. Not sure if this qualifies as a glitch, but I just found this sub and a post about a sock reminded me of this. So all she's. Maybe 3 years ago I took my daughters to music lessons. I filled up with gas on the way using my debit card. After class I decide to stop at Burger King but can't find my debit card. We do a very thorough search through the car and of course wallet and pockets. Nothing. I assume that I must have dropped it at the gas station. I order a new card and move on with life. Last year my house flooded during a hurricane. As a result the walls had to be torn out. Inside the wall, we find the debit card. The expiration day is past so it's definitely not the current one and the one I lost that day is the only one I recall losing in the time I lived in this house. So I don't know for a fact it's definitely that same card, but I'm struggling to see how it's not, and even if it's not, still how did it get into the wall? Not the weirdest story here, but I think about it a lot. I may have died today, in another timeline or something. I slipped and fell off my icy roof head first, but when I blinked I somehow gently landed on my feet like it was nothing. Minutes earlier I was doing some magic with fire and mantras. I won't go into specifics of what I did, but it was definitely related because when I blinked all I could see was the fire as if it was speaking to me. My wife accidentally knocked the ladder out from under me when I was putting tarp up on a roof and saw the whole thing, except she also blinked and somehow missed seeing me flipping around to land on my feet instead of my head. Frickin' weird, right? I'm thankful to be here right now, that's for sure. People keep calling me by a wrong yet familiar name. When I was born my mom decided to call me Daniel, but my dad didn't like it and wanted to give me a different name. He convinced my mom and I now have that different name which doesn't sound anywhere similar to Daniel. Every now and then, since I can think, people have called me randomly Daniel and it just happened again today. I bought something used online and met the seller at a train station, introduced myself properly with my name but he said, "Goodbye Daniel." After we exchanged the item and money. I was too perplexed to clarify it back then. I had some questions regarding that item so we wrote some messages and again he called me Daniel. I made him aware of the fact that I never introduced myself as Daniel and what my real name is, and he excused himself equally baffled and stated that he doesn't know why he believed my name was Daniel. I called my mom quickly and told her that it happened again, and she said it must be something that some people just feel. It's so weird. I'm still in shock. I want to start by saying that I've never done drugs, have no history of mental illness, and I wasn't drinking at around 7:30 a.m. when this happened, nor had I the night before. I take the bus in the morning, and I wait at a pretty large outdoor terminal. Lots of people walk their dogs and walk around it in the morning by where I normally stand. 2 days ago, I saw a tall guy walking a dog that was a golden retriever type. That's not unusual. He was wearing a gray sweater and khakis and was tan in complexion. I looked away for a second, and it was like he and the dog had both paused. Weird, I thought, until the exact same man, just with a yellow lab instead, came walking down the hill. The two of their profiles lined up in front of my eyes about 7 feet in front of me, and they became the same person, with the lab being the dog that won out. I wouldn't have believed this happened and would have chalked it up to me being tired or something if the girl sitting there with me hadn't exchanged shocked glances with me. I also saw him with the lab today. It's really trippy. Glitch, or did I die in the previous universe? It's been about a week and I am still trying to wrap my head around the fact that I might have died in another timeline and just jumped to this one. Background: I was driving down PCH, a very long highway up the coast of California, at 8:15 p.m. exactly, and I know this because I called my mom to let her know I was stopping to watch the sun as it was setting because it was breathtaking. As I'm watching the sunset, I hear a car's horn blazing, and I mean it was loud and sounded like it was coming right at me. I turn around and see a car coming straight towards my car and myself, and then suddenly, I'm sitting on the ground. Very confused, a headache is starting to come on, but I wasn't hit. My car wasn't hit, and I'm still breathing. Obviously freaked out, I get back up and check my phone to call my mom because this is just crazy, and then I noticed it's 8:13 p.m. I check my phone to see if I actually did call her, but there's no history of it. I shake the nerves off and decide to just get home quickly, thinking maybe that was foreshadowing an event I did not want to relive. Once I'm home, my mom asked me why I called her and just hung up. I asked what time I called, she said 8:15 p.m. There is still no history of me calling her on my phone. Am I crazy, or did I just timelines? Everything here seems more vibrant and colorful. I can feel more energy here as well. I'm not sure, any guesses? My mute cousin just spoke to me, so, for context, my cousin can't speak and is fully mute. He's 12 years old, and hasn't spoken a word ever. But the other day, I was alone with him. He looked me in the eye, and whispered it's coming. He said it in such a deep, unsettling voice, that sounded like it came from someone many years older than him. I shouted, "What?" And he just looked at me blankly. Has anyone else experienced something similar? It was very strange, and I'm still very shaken up from it. This made my spine shiver. 20M, so to put into perspective, my girlfriend of 2 years, 19F, lost her mother unexpectedly 6 months before her and I met. Her mother and her were very close, they were practically best friends. Now, it's New Year's Eve and we're headed to her best friend's house for a party. My girlfriend decides to wear one of the last things her mother gave to her before passing away, a pair of gold earrings. At some point throughout the night she loses an earring. Devastated, we all retrace our every step and we do manage to find the backing to it, but no earring. It's now 24 hours later, I'm lying in her bed, by myself, with no clothes on while she's in the shower. I'm reading a book when all of a sudden, the fucking earring gets dropped onto my bare chest out of nowhere. I look around, nobody else in the room, nobody else in the house, just my girlfriend mindlessly showering in the room beside me. Edit, I do not have long hair, and I was not wearing a hat. Absolutely zero chance it was stuck to me. It sounds insane when I try to say this out loud. My boyfriend and I live 2 miles outside of town in the country. Yesterday I had to run into the grocery store, so I grabbed my boyfriend's keys, as my car is not drivable right now, and headed toward town. About a 1/4 of a mile up, the most unreal, freaky thing I've ever had happen to me definitely happened. I saw a vehicle approaching from the opposite direction that was unmistakably my boyfriend's car. The same one I was driving. I looked at the driver as he passed, and it was my boyfriend driving it, looking at me just as confused as I was looking at him. I called him immediately and asked what the hell that was, and of course he had no idea what I was referring to, and I didn't think he would, since he was at home when I left. I got to the grocery store and sat in the car shaking and dumbstruck, trying to figure out what just happened. It took me a good 5 minutes to feel sturdy enough to go in the store. I don't know exactly what happened, obviously, but I have my thoughts. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our YouTube channel for more interesting videos like this.